The Galactic Federation fired its most powerful orbital laser at an unshielded human colony. The beam struck, then turned around. Grand Artillery Commander Va Rektorsh had destroyed civilizations that considered themselves untouchable. For 3 centuries, the Galactic Federation had relied on one absolute rule: no structure built by a primitive species could survive a direct strike from a Federation orbital photon cannon. Mountains became plasma. Cities disappeared in seconds. Defensive fleets vanished before their commanders could issue evacuation orders. When the human mining colony of Kepler 442f refused Federation taxation demands, Va Rek expected another simple demonstration of superior technology. The colony had no warships, no energy shields, and no orbital weapons. Only a handful of human engineers, miners, and construction workers stood between the Federation and complete victory. The mistake was believing that meant they were defenseless. Through the bridge viewport of the dreadnought Judgment of Dawn, Va Rek studied the human settlement below. The colony looked almost insulting compared to Federation military installations. Its buildings were compact, reinforced, and covered with enormous white surfaces that reflected the light of the binary star system. Federation analysts classified the material as basic construction coating. Decorative. Non-military. Irrelevant. The alien officers laughed quietly. Their civilization had spent thousands of years developing energy barriers, molecular armor, and quantum shielding. Humans, according to their intelligence reports, were a young species from a violent death world that survived through adaptation rather than advancement. Va Rek believed he understood humanity. He believed humans solved problems with force because they lacked sophistication. Then he ordered the most expensive weapon in the Federation arsenal to eliminate a roof. The photon cannon charged. Across the fleet, thousands of Federation personnel watched as the weapon's containment rings rotated into position. The energy required to fire the cannon could power an entire planetary civilization for months. The weapon represented generations of scientific progress and billions of credits in military investment. The target below did not even activate a shield. Va Rek almost considered the battle already finished. Fire. The cannon released a beam of concentrated energy hotter than most industrial furnaces on Earth. A crimson column crossed thousands of kilometers in an instant and struck the human colony directly. Every Federation officer expected an explosion. Instead, they witnessed something that would later become known throughout the galaxy as the first recorded example of humanity's most dangerous weapon: improvisation. The beam hit the colony roof. And nothing happened. No explosion. No collapse. No emergency evacuation. The photon cannon's energy spread across the white surface, bending strangely before returning toward space. The tactical systems aboard the Federation fleet immediately began reporting contradictory information. Target damage, 0%. Energy reflection, 97.8%. Origin of deflection, unknown. Va Rek stared at the display. Unknown was not a word Federation technology used often. Their scanners searched for hidden shields. Nothing. They searched for energy fields. Nothing. They searched for advanced alien materials. Nothing. The human colony had no defensive system. No secret weapon. No invisible barrier. Only a white roof. And somehow, their greatest weapon had just attacked the sky. Inside the colony maintenance sector, Chief Engineer Cyrus Mitchell looked at the orbital flash through his helmet visor and calmly checked his tablet. Did the coating hold? He asked. Laura Meyer, the colony's materials specialist, smiled while reviewing the sensor readings. Exactly as predicted. Actually, slightly better. Cyrus looked back toward the roof. The material covering their settlement was not a military invention. It was not a classified technology. It was not an experimental defense system. It was a thermal management solution. Human colonies existed in environments where radiation, heat, and extreme temperature changes were constant threats. Long before reaching the stars, humans had learned a simple lesson on their original planet. Sometimes the smartest solution was not creating more power. Sometimes it was avoiding the need for power. The Federation had searched for a weapon. Humans had built a cheaper solution. Federation scientists began tearing apart the data. The results were humiliating. The mysterious defense material was composed of common human industrial compounds, reflective minerals, protective polymers, standard construction materials. The same type of coating humans used on buildings. Buildings. Not warships. Not fortresses. Buildings. Commander Va Rek refused to believe the conclusion. Are you telling me, he asked his science officer, that our primary orbital weapon was defeated by construction material? The officer hesitated. No, Commander. Va Rek looked relieved for a moment. Then came the answer. Your weapon was defeated by humanity understanding its environment better than we understood ours. For the first time in centuries, the Federation fleet experienced something rare. Doubt. VA Rex pride refused to accept defeat. A Federation weapon could not be defeated by paint. Impossible. The commander ordered the cannon recalibrated for maximum density. If the first beam had been too wide, the second would be concentrated enough to vaporize anything beneath it. The fleet prepared for a second demonstration. The humans below noticed. Cyrus watched the massive weapon charging again above the atmosphere. Are they really doing this twice? He asked. Laura checked the incoming energy readings. They're increasing the output. Cyrus remained silent for a moment. Then he laughed. Not because he was confident. Because he realized the Federation had made the exact mistake humans had warned themselves about for centuries. They were trying to solve a problem by making it bigger. And humans had already prepared for bigger problems. The second photon beam fired with twice the energy of the first. Across the Federation fleet, officers watched with absolute confidence. This time, the human colony would disappear. But on Kepler 442F, Cyrus Mitchell did not order an evacuation. He simply walked outside. He looked toward the sky. And picked up a radio. Laura? Yes? Tell everyone to put on their protective glasses. A confused silence followed. Why? Cyrus smiled. Because I think they're about to learn the same lesson every human construction worker already knows. Above the planet, the second laser struck the white surface. And this time, the Federation would not lose a colony. They would lose their own fleet. The second photon beam crossed the atmosphere of Kepler 442F with enough energy to erase a city-sized structure. Every Federation officer expected the human colony to disappear. The targeting computers confirmed a perfect lock. The power readings exceeded the previous shot by 200%. This was no longer a warning. It was a demonstration of absolute technological superiority. But on the surface, the humans did not run. Cyrus Mitchell simply watched the sky while the colony workers continued their tasks. To the Federation, this was impossible behavior. A species facing extinction should panic. Humans were preparing something else. The laser struck the white surface of the colony once again. For a fraction of a second, the Federation fleet celebrated. Then every sensor displayed the same impossible message. Energy return detected. The beam did not absorb. It did not melt. It reflected. The concentrated photon stream curved away from the colony and returned toward orbit with almost all of its original power. The Federation's most advanced weapon had become a perfectly aimed signal pointing directly back at its creators. VA Rec Torch watched the trajectory calculation appear on his command screen. The destination was not the human colony. It was his own support fleet. The Federation escort cruiser Eternal Principle never had time to react. The reflected beam crossed the distance between the planet and the fleet in seconds. Its shields activated automatically, but shields were designed to absorb attacks, not receive their own weapon multiplied back against them. The cruiser vanished inside a storm of energy. Communication systems failed. Defensive grids collapsed. The massive vessel that had survived dozens of wars broke apart because the Federation had fired at something it never bothered to understand. Across the fleet, silence replaced confidence. The humans had not attacked them. They had simply allowed the Federation to defeat itself. News of the incident reached the Galactic Council before the debris finished falling. Representatives from hundreds of species demanded answers. How had a young civilization created a defense system capable of defeating a Federation-class weapon? Military analysts proposed hidden technology. Scientists suggested unknown physics. Political leaders accused humanity of violating interstellar agreements by hiding advanced capabilities. But the investigation revealed something far more disturbing. Humans had not hidden a weapon. They had hidden nothing. The Federation had simply never considered that survival knowledge from a death world could become a military advantage. Humanity had not built a better sword. They had learned how to make every sword useless. Federation scientists finally received permission to study the colony roof. They expected alien materials. Instead, they found ordinary human engineering. The reflective coating was designed centuries earlier to reduce heat absorption on buildings located in extreme climates. It was cheap, reliable, and easy to apply. The scientists became increasingly confused. How much does this technology cost? One researcher asked. Laura Meyer checked the original manufacturing data. Approximately the equivalent of a few hundred Federation credits. The room became silent. The Federation had spent billions developing weapons. Humanity had spent centuries learning how to waste less energy. The most dangerous discovery was not the paint. It was the philosophy behind it. Federation civilizations usually solve problems by creating more powerful systems. Bigger weapons. Stronger shields. Larger fleets. Humans approached problems differently. They asked one question first. Do we actually need to fight the problem directly? That mindset came from their homeworld. A planet filled with storms, deserts, oceans, predators, and environmental disasters. Humanity survived because it learned to adapt faster than conditions could destroy it. The Federation had spent millennia mastering control. Humans had mastered adjustment. And that difference terrified the Council. Despite the humiliation, several Council members demanded military action. They argued that humanity's success was accidental. A coincidence. A trick that could not be repeated. The Federation prepared a ground operation to capture the colony and analyze every human construction method. Commander Varec was ordered to lead the mission. He hated the assignment. Not because he feared humans. Because he no longer understood them. A species that defeated a superweapon with construction material was not predictable. And unpredictable enemies were the most dangerous enemies in the galaxy. When the Federation landing forces descended toward Kepler 442f, they expected primitive resistance. Instead, they found a colony already prepared. Cyrus Mitchell gathered engineers, miners, and security teams inside the main operations center. They had no battleships. No orbital weapons. No advanced alien technology. Only human equipment. Industrial tools. Construction machines. Improvised systems created from whatever resources were available. The Federation saw weakness. Cyrus saw options. Because humans had never survived by having the perfect tool. They survived by turning the wrong tool into the right one. The first Federation drones entered the colony perimeter expecting invisible defenses. Instead, their optical systems suddenly malfunctioned. Their camouflage algorithms failed. Their sensors became overwhelmed. The drones transmitted confused reports back to orbit. Unknown visual contamination. Targeting system degraded. The cause was almost embarrassing. Human workers had modified industrial equipment using specialized pigments and coatings. The same kind of materials humans used every day for maintenance. The Federation had searched for military technology. Again. They found human practicality. Commander Varec watched his invasion force lose efficiency against equipment that was never designed for war. His officers demanded explanations. His scientists had none. Then a final report arrived. Human forces were moving toward the landing zone. Not soldiers in advanced armor. Not elite warriors with impossible weapons. Engineers. Workers. People carrying tools. Varec stared at the image appearing on his screen. For the first time in his long military career, he understood the true danger of humanity. The humans were not fighting with what they had. They were fighting with everything they could imagine. The Federation landing troops advanced through the human colony expecting soldiers. They found workers. At the front of the human defense line stood Cyrus Mitchell, wearing a simple maintenance suit instead of military armor. Around him were engineers, miners, and technicians carrying equipment that Federation intelligence classified as harmless industrial tools. Commander Varec observed the scene from his command shuttle and felt something unfamiliar. Confusion. The humans did not look like an army preparing for battle. They looked like people repairing a machine. And that was when the Federation discovered its final mistake. Humans did not separate survival from engineering. For them, every problem was simply another system waiting to be fixed. Federation drones descended toward the colony buildings, scanning for weapons and defensive positions. The scans found almost nothing. No heavy cannons. No energy barriers. No military infrastructure. The alien commanders became confident again. They believed the earlier events had been unusual accidents. But then the drones entered the human industrial zone. Their optical camouflage failed instantly. Their targeting systems began receiving thousands of false reflections. The drones could no longer distinguish walls, equipment, vehicles, or human movement. The cause was not a secret weapon. It was a combination of human industrial pigments, reflective materials, and environmental coatings. Humanity had not built a weapon. It had simply made the battlefield impossible for machines that expected perfection. Federation soldiers moved closer, expecting a technological advantage. Instead, they found something far more dangerous. Humans were improvising. A damaged mining vehicle became a mobile shield platform. Construction equipment became defensive barriers. Maintenance drones were modified into reconnaissance systems. Every object around the colony had been given a second purpose. The Federation military doctrine depended on specialization. Weapons were weapons. Tools were tools. Machines had defined functions. Humanity ignored that limitation. Cyrus Mitchell looked across the battlefield and gave a simple order. Use whatever works. Those 4 words represented a completely different military philosophy. Commander Varek finally understood why the Federation feared human expansion. It was not because humans possessed stronger ships. They did not. It was not because humans had superior weapons. They did not. The danger came from their ability to transform ordinary things into extraordinary solutions. Every Federation strategy depended on predicting enemy capabilities. But humans constantly changed their own capabilities. They adapted faster than intelligence reports could be updated. Varek watched his invasion plan collapse piece by piece. For the first time, the legendary commander of the Purification Fleet faced an opponent he could not categorize. Humanity was not a military force. It was an evolving system. The Council refused to retreat. Too much political power depended on defeating humanity. Too many species were watching. The Federation ordered one final assault using elite combat machines designed for planetary conquest. These machines had conquered fortress worlds. They had destroyed ancient civilizations. Nothing primitive had ever stopped them. The humans responded by doing something that shocked every alien observer. They painted them. Not with random colors. With specialized coatings designed to confuse their sensors, absorb their tracking signals, and disrupt their targeting systems. The machines worth billions of credits suddenly became blind. A galaxy built on expensive technology was defeated by a human understanding of simple materials. The Federation commander finally requested communication with Cyrus Mitchell. The human engineer appeared on the screen. Varek expected arrogance. He found something else. Come. Why? The alien commander asked. Why would your species create such humiliating solutions? Cyrus looked confused. We didn't create them to fight you. The answer shocked the Federation. The roof coating was not designed for war. The equipment modifications were not designed for war. The humans had simply lived in a universe where every environment was dangerous. They adapted because they had to. The Federation had mistaken practicality for weakness. After Kepler 442f, the Galactic Council changed its military doctrine. Every human object became a potential strategic asset. Human construction materials were analyzed. Human engineering methods were studied. Human survival philosophy became the subject of military academies across hundreds of worlds. The Federation had spent thousands of years asking how to build stronger weapons. Humanity forced them to ask a different question. What if the enemy can turn anything into a weapon? The answer terrified them. Because the galaxy finally understood something important. Humans were not dangerous because they had the strongest technology. They were dangerous because they could survive without it. Months later, a classified Federation report reached every major civilization. The report contained a single warning. Never underestimate human simplicity. The galaxy had expected humanity to become another advanced species competing through technological superiority. Instead, humans became something different. A civilization built around adaptation. A civilization that could lose everything and still create a solution. A civilization that could face impossible odds and continue moving forward. The Federation had arrived believing humans were an easy target. They left knowing something far more important. Humanity was not the prey entering the battlefield. Humanity was the reason the battlefield had to be redesigned. The Galactic Federation believed the human colony was defenseless. They believed their greatest weapon would erase humanity in seconds. Instead, a simple human solution turned their own power against them and revealed the truth the galaxy had ignored for centuries. Today the galaxy learned why humans were never prey. They survive because they adapt, they endure, and they transform impossible situations into victories. Subscribe to humanity's Vanguard, HFY and Sci-Fi stories, and witness the next moment when the galaxy discovers that underestimating humanity is always the first mistake.